Hi people, it's me Anja, my pronouns are she and her, and welcome back to my channel for part 3 of my favorite books set in free verse. If you're also a fan of books set in free verse, I have linked in the description box below parts 1 and 2 in case you want some more recommendations. But without any further ado, the first book on this list is called Full Cicada Moon. This book is a literary historical fiction set in 1969 following a biracial main character, and it's about like standing up for what's right and figuring out who you are, which I think is so important. And first of all, this story is so timely and it's so necessary for people like me who are half black and half Asian, because I felt so like seen and understood by the main character. The majority of biracial main characters that I've read about in the past have always been like half white, so it's so nice and refreshing to read about a main character who's half black and half Asian, just like me. You know what I mean? Second of all, the plot was so intriguing and it was absolutely so engaging. The world building was literally so atmospheric and it was so well done. This book felt so like authentic and it was so well done. And I just really enjoyed it because I really loved it. Because I felt so seen by the main character. And the story is like so immersive and it's so emotional. And it's literally so good. And this book is literally so underrated. So anyway, with all that said, I would highly, highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called The Most Dazzling Girl in Berlin. This book is a YA historical fiction that follows a young sapphic girl in 1930s Berlin on the cusp of World War II as she discovers love, found family, and her own voice. This book is absolutely so good and it's so well done. And it's definitely one of my favorite sapphic books that I've read this year because it was really so good and so well developed in every single element. First of all, the setting was so well developed and it was literally so good. I don't think I've ever read a book before set in this time period, so reading everything was literally so refreshing, because sometimes when I read like World War II books, I can tell like where and when it's going to end, because I've read about that time period in school before, you know what I mean? But with this book, I had no idea when or where like the plot was going to go, which was so nice because it made the story so much more like immersive and less predictable, you know what I mean? But anyway, the sapphic representation and the sapphic romance was so good and it was so lovely. Literally, this book is so good. The characters were so well developed and so distinct. The plot was absolutely so intriguing and so engaging, and the story is so readable. Literally, this book is so good and so underrated. So anyway, with all that said, I would highly, highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Nothing Burns as Bright as You. This book is a YA contemporary following a young black sapphic main character as she navigates grief, love, and the complexities of female friendship. This book is so good, and it's absolutely so underrated. I know I mentioned recently that black sapphic books usually don't receive the same type of hype as white sapphic books, but this book deserves so much more hype because it's literally so good. First of all, the free verse format was literally so lyrical and it made the story so pretty and so like atmospheric and beautiful and so immersive. The characters were so well developed and so distinct. The sapphic representation was so lovely and it literally felt so authentic. The plot was so intriguing and it was so engaging, and the story is like so easy to like fall in love with, especially since the characters literally felt so authentic. You know what I mean? This book is literally so good and it deserves so much more hype because it's so well done and it's so well developed. But anyway, with all that said, I would definitely highly, highly recommend this book because it's literally so good. The next book on this list is called The Ghosts of Rose Hill. This book is a YA magical realism contemporary urban fantasy that follows a young violinist who descends into a haunted summer of love and longing. This book is absolutely so fantastic and it's so lyrical and I really, really enjoyed it. First of all, the The Jewish culture and history in the story was literally so well done. I really enjoyed it because it made the story so much more like immersive and atmospheric because it was so well developed. Second of all, the world building was literally so good and it was so rich. The characters were so well developed and so distinct. The plot was so intriguing and so engaging. Like, the story is so good, and this book is literally so underrated because it's absolutely like so good, and it's so rich, and it's so well done and well developed in every single element. Literally, like, the plot, the world building, the characters, the friendships, literally like the family dynamics, everything about it was so well done. Anyway, with all that said, this book is so good, as you clearly can tell from my review. But anyway, with all that said, I would highly recommend it. The last book on this list, and certainly not the least, is called In the Beautiful Country. This book is a middle-grade historical fiction that follows a young girl who immigrates from Taiwan to the United States in 1980. This book is absolutely so fantastic, and I really enjoyed it. First of all, I love reading stories about immigrants because, first of all, fish out of water is one of my favorite tropes, only to be topped by found family. And second of all, as a child of immigrant parents, technically, I love like reading about immigrants because it makes me think of like my parents' experiences of like immigrating here. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but basically this book was so good and it was so well done. First of all, the world building was so good, and it was so awesome, and I really truly like felt for the main character as she was navigating like culture shock and racism and friendship and like everything. You know what I mean? And her relationship with her parents felt so authentic and so well done. The plot was absolutely so engaging and so lovely, and you can truly feel through the pages and through the emotions of the book that this story was inspired by the author's own immigrant experience. Literally, this book is so good and it's so underrated. The world building, the plot, the family dynamics, the characters, all felt literally so authentic. So anyway, with all that said, I would highly recommend this book. So, in conclusion, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I have linked parts 1 and 2 in the description box below in case you want some more recommendations, in case you are also a fan of free verse books like me. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the basketball emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!